And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Anytime you're talking about fundamentals in a market and direction, fundamentals take a little bit of time to play out.
We got crude oil today, kind of trading yesterday's value area really nicely, low to high.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Hello, everybody out there. Welcome to Coach's Playbook on Tuesday, October 5th. Today, we are talking energies and equities because those are fun things to trade. I mean, I spent a lot of time trading bonds. You know, they have their moments, but they're just not as fun. Anyway, I'm joined by Top Steps Risk Manager, Mick Aronimo, Dan Hodgman, and Senior Performance Coach, John Hoagland. Got official with the titles today. Before we get started, though, Mick, I hear we got a trader who's doing pretty well.
Yeah, Marlon Haynes up 3,700 trading NASDAQ today. So great job for him. He always seems to put up big numbers on his good days.
Nice. Well, great job to Marlon. I'm going to let one of you guys kick it off today because I have been buried. I have not been doing any trading today. I have not really been looking at the markets. I have been buried in spreadsheets doing the Lord's work. No, just all sorts of BS. But anyway, Dan, since you were the suggester of this, why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're talking about today?
Absolutely. Well, everyone's right now is watching equities. They're watching energies. Crude oil yesterday making 7-year highs after OPEC comes out and says, nope, we're not increasing output. We're going to take this thing higher. They must have some serious investment in things like Tesla and Rivian because they want to see everyone flood away from oil products. You got equities breaking down hard yesterday, huge divergences too. You only saw the Dow go down about 350, where NASDAQ's down 2.5% yesterday, recovering those losses today. NASDAQ falls about 115 points short of 10% correction. Natural gas, that's just a wild one. That's the one you stay away from when you're out at night. You just, we're going to avoid that one there. So you got a lot going on and a lot of these markets across the board. And I think we should send this to Mick. Mick, you've been watching this natural gas close for quite some time. You've been involved in part of the move too. You've been around this one. So what are you seeing and what's going on over there?
Well, thanks, Dan. Yeah, I've been really interested in the natural gas. Liked it from the long side for a while, going back early into the spring. And I'm blown away with the run that we've seen. Now we're seeing, last week we almost saw close to a limit up move in the natural gas, up almost 15% on the day one day. We're up 400 ticks right now in it right now, a little over that, up 7.5% on the day. It's just been an interesting one to watch. I've been keeping a close eye on the commitment of traders reports, looking at these large speculator positions. They've been short this whole bull run up. And, I think some of these big goosings or spikes we've seen to the upside is people blowing out of those positions. I've just been really intrigued watching them take it to the chin, day in and day out on this run up. And then, even after a couple bigger spikes higher, they've added to their positions in some cases. So it's been an interesting one for me to watch. Did okay on the trade there. It's continued to run up, which is just fine. But it's my fireworks show here on a daily basis. When I look at my quote board, I'm like, all right. The first thing I do when I get into the computer is like, all right, what's that gas doing today?
How much is it up now?
Yeah, it's up 400 and where are we at here? 416 ticks, so 7.25%. Just been big moves. I really don't suggest, that anybody trade that market right now, just because we are having such huge swings. I think the market's already kind of done its thing. I don't know if we're going to have, find ourselves in a bear market coming up here, but, maybe. That being said, it could still go, quite a bit higher.
Regular natural gas explosion, as we call it in the game. I'm fascinated to hear about this because on my board, I only have crude oil. I don't really follow the natural gas that much. I don't trade the commodities that much. Besides these short squeezes, are there other, what's the other catalyst for this natural gas move? Is there, what's sort of like the macro story here?
So I haven't paid too much attention to the fundamentals of it at all.
Good
Mostly
trader.
what I've been doing is looking at the technicals. I kind of like to keep my eyes and ears closed when it comes to what people are saying about markets, and I look at my charts. That's my little world that I live in, and it works for me. Might not work for everybody, but we've seen multi-year highs in that market. It's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah. So Hogue, would you say that we're kind of entering a new market state right now? Or, I mean, this is more movement than we've had a while. We talked about natural gas and oil, but obviously equities are doing the same thing. Dan mentioned that briefly. Just want to see what your thoughts are on it.
Well, as far as nat gas is concerned, I think it was last week Citigroup came out and said they could see nat gas at $100 per million British thermal units. It's $6.50 now. Actually, 640 was the swing high from back in 2014. Highest I see on my monthly chart is up around $14.50. I don't see that happening, but they're certainly having a very difficult time getting their hands on anything energy wise in Europe, especially the UK. I talked to somebody in the UK yesterday, and they're having trouble even getting gasoline. So we certainly have a tightening of the availability of energy. As far as equities are concerned, the Labor Day Monday, we left an island top. We had a head and shoulders on the daily chart, and we also off the high had a bearish engulfing pattern. Technically, the market was set to pull back. There's a lot of insecurities and insecurities, I would say, as far as in the marketplace, as far as what the politicians are doing, what's going to happen with the debt limit. Of course, inflation is certainly going to be an issue, and we even have Elizabeth Warren talking about taxing unrealized profits in real estates and stocks. I don't think she knows what she's talking about, or is available, or is aware of what that could do to the markets. But a lot of these things is just creating uncertainty, and I think we're in this for a little while. I think we've got some uncertain times, and we've had about a 5% plus pullback in the S&Ps. Do I see more of it coming? We're kind of in a range bound spot right here, and unless the uncertainty is quiet, which they have a tendency to do, if they're not first of mind, traders tend to forget about it. This thing could whirl around at any moment and continue this march to the upside. I've seen it happen. Not really seeing that happening right now, but we're certainly in a different market state. We've been, going from low to high for several basically years, and we're definitely putting in lower lows and lower highs until now. It can change at any time, but I'm looking at my opportunities as selling strength.
Yeah, I'm trying to play around with my charts now. As I mentioned, it is interesting. It's I believe, and tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm still trying to pull my charts. I think the S&P and NASDAQ both, at least on the down turn yesterday, maybe went through their 50 or 100-day moving averages. Let me
100-day approached. S&Ps are approaching their 200, and I think that's what's kind of interesting right now is this kind of the laggard of NASDAQ really being the tear to the downside versus things like the Dow and the S&Ps. They've held on a little bit stronger, and there's a lot of reasoning behind that. You see the flight from the tech products in general. The people are fleeing that. We've got these rolling blackouts going through China right now. China's on very, very thin ice with COVID stuff. They're building up their rolling blackouts. You saw Apple and Tesla lost factories for a couple of days just due to these rolling blackouts. Then you've got Facebook yesterday. This is the wild thing. I think
Great
Facebook down.
Schadenfreude.
Facebook down like 7.5% yesterday. Shuts down, biggest outage in Facebook history or since 2008. Now, I'm not going to say I'm a conspiracy theorist, but there is the whistleblower has been talking for the last couple of days, and all of a sudden Facebook doesn't work. I don't know. Maybe they're scrubbing some servers.
Great timing.
So you've got a lot going on there. So you're seeing a little bit more strength in things like the S&Ps and the Dow, NASDAQ. That's where the big seller is. NASDAQ has been the leader for the last year and a half, 2 years. So everyone's kind of follow what NASDAQ's doing. Is that going to really ignite things to the downside? That's where my bigger question is going to be. But I want to talk this natural gas for a minute. And I watched natural gas on and off for years, never really paid too much attention to it, never really affected my life that much until now. And now I'm getting a little anxious as we're approaching winter time. I am seeing some Farmer's Almanac stuff I watch pretty closely that we may be heading into a polar vortex this winter. So if you guys need a roommate, I have some extra rooms. We can split the gas bill to keep the house heated. We're going to pull out
a great selling point right there. It's going to be freezing cold in Wisconsin.
I am dreading my gas bill this winter, to say the least. Cold showers, space heaters, keeping the house at a cool 42 degrees just so the pipes don't freeze. I'm dreading it.
Dan, I love
what a warm invitation, Dan.
Yeah, but Dan, you're the only person I know. Like, I don't hazard to guess on what the price of your automobile is, but I love the way you make it up at other things. You're a real stickler for cable and gas bills.
Well, cable, gas bills, but also I am a stickler when it comes to the truck. Yeah, I get pretty poor gas mileage, but I have a game out of it. When I am driving more than couple miles, I really focus on where my MPGs are working. I try and keep the MPG above the 16 miles per gallon mark. Doesn't always work. But I was in the truck this morning. We are averaging 15.3 miles per gallon. Pretty jazzed up about that. That's a pretty good number in that truck.
Yeah, you're a regular Greta Thunberg over there. Yeah, I think that both these product classes we're talking about are super interesting to watch right now because, as I said, you can't stay above your moving average forever unless it's just going to go up in a straight line for the rest of eternity, right? I think the NASDAQ's one of those things where it's a little, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. I mean, sure, we missed a 5% pullback, but what's it been up in the last year? I'd have to get out the calculator. I would get, 70, 80, I don't know. But I think there might be, when you spoke with the Dow yesterday, Facebook, for instance, with the sort of changing marketplace, if you're sitting on a whole bunch of Facebook profits right now, or, say Tesla or whatever else, maybe you're thinking like, let's sell and rotate a little bit, maybe get something a little safer, I think that's natural. And I think it's something good that will happen every day that this market keeps on going up without that pullback. To me, it just feels more unstable, but who am I?
I feel the same way. These markets needed it.
One thing when we talk about the equity indices, we've got our Dow, our S&Ps, our NASDAQ, our Russell, they're all made up of different, individual companies and stuff like that. One thing I wanted to talk about today for, all you equities traders out there is, we're seeing, with these larger swings to the downside and then the upside, we're seeing pretty significant discrepancies, as far as net change as a percentage goes. We've got the Russell's only up, 0.15%, while I'm looking at NASDAQ, it's up 1.75%. So there's huge discrepancies there. And for people who, may want to play, the like residual strength, the leaders and the laggers, like you're always going to be better off buying the stronger index, I should say, and shorting the weakest one. So something to keep in mind, whether you're, spreading, you're long NASDAQ, short Russell, or vice versa, I think is a good rule of thumb. And you guys, weigh in a little bit here. Like I've always been told, and I've always seen, like, it's always better to, if you pick the one that's the strongest, if you want to go long and go long the strongest one, don't try and buy the weakest one in hopes that it'll catch up, as far as the percentage move goes with the other one.
No, because if I wanted to rotate, this is more investing than trading at this point. If I want to rotate, I'd much rather rotate to like the S&P 500, which are still giant companies with generally strong balance sheets. I hope, knock on wood, there's a table right here. Versus, the Russell, like, I don't know. I don't want to buy the Russell because it's not like if the NASDAQ collapses right now, the Russell is going to be hunky-dory. It's probably going to be worse.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my thought on it. And I think that you're right. I always say, just follow the trend, buying the strength. As long as you don't want to get married to one side of the position, one side of the trade. You got to admit when you're wrong. But yeah, I'd still rather, while I agree with Hogue that I'm looking for a pullback, if I'm like forced to do it on a day, I think that I'm going with this trend. But yeah, I'm looking to sell the real pops right now. But once again, I'm not a dead ender where, I'm not Michael Burry out there for many reasons. I'm not a billionaire. I am not well known generally. My opinions don't carry much clout. That's all good. But I'm also not going to go all in on I believe he's short a metric F ton of like Tesla or something right now.
Which keeps going to make new highs. Just broke over 800 a share yesterday.
Yeah, they had some good news as far as the number of cars that they were able to produce in the last month.
Yeah, and a tweet from Kathy Wood. That isn't they hit 900 during the previous Tesla explosion a few months ago. And yeah, I wouldn't want to be long or short that stock, to be honest. And I might make some enemies with that statement.
You've been ragging on the long side of that for a while now, Jack, saying people are greedy if you're still holding it.
I was, and for a brief moment, I was right, though, because it pulled back from 900 down to 5 something.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's back
as a compliment.
Exactly. I'm not getting involved with Tesla. I learned my lesson last year.
There you go.
So,
that's probably one of the greater lessons of this segment is not, you don't have to get involved just because there's a shiny object or a market out there with a story to it. Sitting on your hands can be a very, very good thing.
Yeah, unless you live in some dystopian, I don't know, like trading republic or something where they're forcing you to make trades. I'm not familiar with that existing. But yeah, you don't have to make any trade. That's your decision.
Yeah, I think that was a nice way to round that out right there, Mick. I mean, you hit the nail right on the head, as they say.
Absolutely. Traders do more than make trades. They don't make trades.
Yeah.
Perhaps way more often than not. I think that's a good thing to remember.
Mm-hmm.
So does anyone have any sort of parting thoughts here on this? It's probably something we'll be talking a lot about in the next few weeks or months.
Yeah, I think they're two products to keep your eyes on. There's a lot can happen. We still have a few more months left in the year. A lot can happen.
A lot can happen. A lot will. Dan, do you have a piece of inspiration for us before we leave today?
I do. I kind of like this one. I didn't really know how to find a quote about equities and energies and market states. So I just started kind of looking through some quotes and I found a good one from good old Salvador Dali, who, as I look at his picture right now, like I really want to start growing a mustache like that. It's just spectacular.
You got a pet pangolin too, or whatever he had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a good quote for us. And I actually do appreciate this. I think this works for pretty much anything. Have no fear of perfection. You're never going to reach it.
I like that a lot. So with that, thanks everybody for watching. Be sure to check out the market forecast at 8, the market recap at 3 each day. We're going to have some new changes coming to the recap soon. It'll still be the recap, but there's going to be some flair maybe down the line a little bit. So you'll want to see that. And with that date keeping, what's the word I'm looking for? Bookwork. Man, I'm going to have like a stroke right now if I don't think about the word. House cleaning?
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping. That was what I was looking for. Man, I have been in the spreadsheets too long today. So I will give my melted mind a Hogue to send us out.
All right. Yeah, these markets are providing opportunity, and a lot of times traders get a little bit in front of their skis when this big opportunity comes. I found in my experience, being patient, waiting for the right moment, and staying out of the markets as important as being in the market. So take your time, look for the right spot, make it come to you, and trade well. We'll see